Thanks for joining me. So we're going to be moving through a flow into yin class today. We'll be started seated, and if you can wiggle around and find your props that you need, we're going to meet in butterfly pose. Soles of the feet together, you can rock side to side a few times. You may want to add a little blanket or lift under the sit bones. We always want to start in a seated position so that we can center ourselves, ground ourselves down, make sure that we have that moment of pause at the beginning of our practice, and we always finish with a pause at the end of the practice. This gives us an opportunity to become a bit more mindful, to notice the quality of our breath, what's going on with our thoughts, our emotions, and how we feel physically in the body. So I invite you to come to your butterfly shape. You can decide if you like your feet in nice and close or if you prefer them farther away. You could also have blocks under the knees to add additional support. As you arrive on your mat, you can bounce your knees up and down and get a little bit of movement. Get out all the wiggles. And then hopefully at some point you feel like you can saddle the legs, create a nice tall spine. There'll be firmness to the belly. Shoulders, as always, are going to be relaxed down and back. Starting with the chin parallel to the floor, imagine that you could reach the crown of your head up closer to the ceiling or the sky. Maintaining the length that you create by that action, then you can start to close down the eyes, perhaps drop the chin slightly. And we'll take a few moments to practice mindfulness. Starting with the breath, notice if it's fast or slow, shallow or deep. And create a nice even rhythm to your breath. Not too fast, not too slow. And you should be able to feel the movement of your breath down low into the belly. We want to avoid our chest breathing and instead draw the breath down lower. You may even have to exaggerate that action of blowing your belly up almost like a little balloon on your inhale and then pulling the belly back in on the exhale. That'll just bring your awareness down a little lower. Once you've established a nice even breath, I'd like you to take an energetic sweep of yourself. So where is the physical energy? You have lots, you have a little, and then how can you modify or adapt to your yoga practice to honor your energy? You'll be able to make little changes so that you can either increase your energy output or maintain it or decrease it. So you're going to have options. And then subtle body energy. Emotionally, how are you feeling? And then again, making a decision to honor your subtle body energy throughout your yoga practice. Being a little kinder to yourself if you're feeling a little fragile, a little unsure, uncertain, maybe you've got a lot going on. Be gentle on yourself. Hopefully you're feeling just a little bit more rooted into the body and in how you're feeling. We're going to try to maintain and keep that and honor it as we move through our postures. Let's take our fingertips out to the side, nice tall spine. You're going to inhale one arm up, doesn't matter which one, and side bend over to the side. Your bottom arm is your support. You can move it in or out. Top arm could be straight, bent, or if you prefer, hand to hip. We're going for the stretch for the side waist. Want to open up through the ribs so that those deeper breaths that you're going to need will come a little freer, a little easier. Gaze can go up, forward, or down. Inhale, swoop the arms up, switch sides. And switch sides again, back to the first side. Maybe a little bit more rotation or a little bit more of a reach. Again, adjust your bottom hand, adjust your top arm for more or less sensation. And we'll inhale, rise back up. Last time, last side. Side bending to the other side. Adjusting the gaze, adjusting the top arm, adjusting the bottom arm. Maintaining the length through your spine. We'll rise back up to the top. We're going to come out of butterfly pose and into tabletop position. Hands and knees. If you have knee injuries, you may want to have a blanket underneath the shin so that the knees don't have to be bearing weight. If you have a wrist injury, you may want to have a little bit more of a lift underneath the palm or the heel of your hand so you don't have to have quite so much flexion. Once you arrive in your tabletop position, start to move in and out of your spinal flow. That can look however you want it to look. Dropping the belly down, rounding the back up. You may prefer something more like a figure 8. I want to ease the spine into a more fluid way of moving, especially if it's the first thing you've done so far today. Just a couple more moves, moving your spine in a flowing action. Again, it can look however you need it to look. And coming back to our neutral tabletop, I'd like you to step your right foot forward between the hands. You can adjust the back knee. We're going to stay more at like 90-90 on the 2 knees. We're not going to take us a little bit lower back into the back knee today. We're going to keep it farther forward. Once you've got your feet settled, we're going to reach the arms all the way up. You want to feel like you've stacked your shoulders over top of your hips. Reach the fingertips up towards the ceiling, gaze is forward. And then let your hands float down and interlace behind your back. So you may have to roll the shoulders, bend your elbows quite generously, interlace, and then straighten the arms behind you. Add a little bit of a back bend by lifting up through the sternum and taking the gaze higher. And then we'll release the hands, bring them back down to frame your front foot. We're going to reach the right arm up, twisting and opening to the right. Releasing the right hand and switching, twisting to the left, left hand to the side. Releasing the left hand, rise up onto fingertips, straighten the front leg, send your hips back. Perhaps even pulling the toes back towards you, getting into the calf. And then float forward and back or glide forward and back a few times. Easing into the hamstrings. The next time you come forward, step the right foot back and switch sides, left foot forward. And make sure you feel stable. And then we'll reach the arms up. Shoulders over hips, palms can face each other. Belly's firm. And releasing the hands again behind the back, interlace. Draw the knuckles down and away from you, and then maybe even up and away. Hold here. Again, adding on to this a mini back bend. The gaze goes up, the sternum lifts. Releasing the gaze back forward, hands come to the mat, frame the foot. We're going to open up to the right. Right hand opens, hand to the sky, gaze to the sky. Right hand down, twisting and opening to your left. Hand comes back down to the floor, straightening the front leg, gliding the hips back, and moving back and forth in your own way, in your own time. The next time you come forward, step the left foot back. We're in tabletop again. Place your hands down so that the fingers have lots of space between them. They'll look like starfish hands. Tuck your toes, lift your knees, lift your hips. Come up into Adho Mukha Shavasana, downward facing dog. Bend one knee deeply and then the other, letting your hips rock side to side. Coming back to center, press your heels down towards the mat, send your sit bones back. Long, straight arms, long, straight spine. And then begin the journey of walking your feet to meet your hands. You'll be at the top of your mat in a forward fold. Pause here. Take a few moments again, just like in down dog, bend one knee and then the other, rock the hips. Come back to an evenly bent or evenly straight leg. Doesn't matter which one you choose. Bring your left hand up in front of your toes. Take your right hand to your right hip. Turn and open the torso to the right. Perhaps even the gaze can start to move up towards the ceiling. You can decide if you want to keep the knees bent or work towards a straighter leg. Your left hand could also be on a prop. We'll release and we'll switch our hands, twisting to the left. Release, come back down into your forward fold. Bend your knees, swoop the arms all the way up. We're going to meet in a full body stretch, Urdhva Hastasana. And releasing the hands down by the sides. Should be at the top of your mat if you're not already there. Make your way there. We'll be moving through 3 rounds of our Sun Salutation A. It's going to look like this. Swoop the arms up. Turn the palms out. Fold yourself forward, Uttanasana, forward fold. Inhale, rise up to extended lift. It can be either on your fingertips or you can have hands to shins. You want to be broad through the collarbones, long through the spine. Bend your knees, plant your hands, step back, plank or plank on your knees. Create a nice solid line from the back of your shoulders to either the backs of your knees or the backs of your heels. Arms are strong and straight, belly's firm. On your next exhale, push your weight forward, bend at the elbows, lower to the belly. Untuck the toes, roll the shoulders down and back, and lift yourself away from the floor. So we want to be doing the lift with our mid to low back. Don't really need our hands at all to do this. You're rooting down to the tops of your feet and through the hips. Hold at the top. Exhale, release. 2 more times, just like that. Press down through the legs, lift the body away from the floor, hold. And exhale, release. Inhale, rise back up. Exhale, release. Letting your knees press into your mat really firmly. Toes can be tucked. You're going to press either to plank or plank on the knees with one big push. Hold. Glide the hips back, down dog. Option is to stay still and hold the shape, perhaps working your heels closer to the floor. Or bend and straighten the knees. Get lots of movement. Now, wherever you're working, make the journey again Feet to hands, top of the mat. We'll meet in a forward fold. Bend the knees, swoop the arms all the way up, rise up, Urdhva Hastasana. And releasing the hands down. A little bit faster this time. Inhale, swoop the arms up. Exhale, forward fold, Uttanasana. Extended lift. Bend the knees, plant the hands, step back, plank, or plank on the knees. On your exhale, lower to the belly. Use your whole exhale to go down. Untuck the toes, roll the shoulders, curl up. Back bend of choice. Your options are to do cobra, high cobra, the arms are straighter, or upward facing dog where the hips lift. It's just the tops of your feet and your hands. Got a nice strong arch through your back. Whichever back bend you're in, you're going to release all the way back down to the belly. Tuck the toes. Press to plank or plank on the knees. And back to down dog. Walk, step, or even jump your weight at the top of the mat. We'll meet and hold in our forward fold. Soften and release. Bend your knees, swoop the arms all the way up. Urdhva Hastasana. And hands come down. Last round, swoop the arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Rise up, extended lift. Bend your knees, plant the hands, go back, plank. Hold. Exhale to the belly. All the way down with your exhale. Untuck the toes. Choose the back bend. Exhale, release. Press your way up, plank. Back to down dog. Walk hands to feet or feet to hands, that'd be better. Meeting again in our forward fold, top of the mat. Bend the knees, swoop the arms up. Release the hands down. From the top of your mat, you're going to need to step your right foot to the very back of your mat, coming into a high lunge. So you're on the ball of your back foot to start. You have a 90-degree bend in the forward knee. Back leg is strong and straight. Arms are going to sweep up. Palms will face each other. High lunge. Also called crescent lunge. And we're going to release our hands down. Get them behind your back. Roll the shoulders. Interlace the fingers. Stretch your hands out behind you. Take the gaze slightly up. Mini back bend. And then fold yourself forward, all the way down, humble warrior. Transitioning from here to warrior two, turn and plant your back foot, release your hands, windmill them up, warrior two, Virabhadrasana 2. Straighten the front leg. Front hand reaches to the sky, back hand to back thigh. Reverse triangle. Back to warrior two, bend into the forward knee. Gaze over the fingertips of your front hand. Transitioning back into our high lunge or crescent lunge, back hand comes down and forward. Back foot lifts, you're coming back onto the ball of your foot, you're facing the top of your mat. Palms are facing each other. Now we're going to transition from our high lunge or crescent lunge into our warrior three. You may need to have a little step with your back foot, get a little shorter stance. Hands are going to reach back. Reach the fingers back, palms will face each other. You're going to shift your weight forward. You can have a little slide of your back foot. And then lift your back leg, warrior three. variation to lift your back leg as high as you can and tip yourself forward. We are releasing into Tadasana, top of the mat, regroup. And repeating that on the other side, we'll step the left foot to the back of the mat. We're starting in our high lunge or crescent lunge. You're on the ball of the back foot. Arms are reaching, palms face each other. You got a 90-degree bend as best you can manage on the front leg. Hands come behind your back, roll the shoulders, interlace the hands, stretch them out long behind you. Mini back bend, lift the sternum, take the gaze up. And then bowing forward, humble warrior. Hands can lift or they can stay on the low back. Transitioning to warrior two, back foot turns and rotates, arms release, you windmill them up, warrior two. You got a strong bend in the forward knee, back leg is straight, gaze is over the right fingertips. Straighten the front leg, right arm reaches up, back hand to back leg, reverse triangle. Back to warrior two. Transitioning to high lunge. Coming onto the ball of your back foot, palms face each other, you're at the top of the mat. You may again need to have that little step forward of your back foot so you got a bit more power. We're going to release the hands down, they'll reach back. We're going to shift all the way to the front foot. You can glide or slide your back toes to have your balance. Start to tip forward, lifting your back leg as high as you can. Don't worry if it gets wobbly, if you come in and out. The pose is all about the effort. Releasing, Tadasana, top of the mat. Pause, regroup. We're going to sweep the arms all the way up. We're going to keep the gaze up, palms facing each other. Start to sit down, chair pose. As you sit down, your gaze comes forward. Lots of weight into the heels. You should be able to see the tops of your feet, or maybe the tips of your toes. If you can't, just send your bum a little farther back. Exhale, forward fold. Rise up, extended lift. Bend the knees, plant the hands, step back, plank, or plank on the knees. Hold. Use your exhale to go to the belly. Untuck the toes, curl the shoulders down and back. Choose your back bend. Again, you have low cobra, high cobra, or up dog. Release your back bend. Press back up, planker, plank on the knees, toes tucked. Back to down dog. Right leg's gonna lift, three-legged dog. You'll step it all the way forward between the hands. Once it's there, rise up, high lunge. Hands behind the back. Mini back bend, gaze goes up. And then folding forward, humble warrior. Turn and plant your back foot, unwind the arms, warrior two. And reverse triangle, straighten the front leg, lean back. Back to warrior two. Transitioning into high lunge. Hands go back. Make any little shuffles with your feet as you need to. Pressing off, come up. Warrior three. Leg lifting as high as you can, tipping forward as low as you can. Now this time releasing into a lunge. Hands come to frame the front foot, back foot lowers. You're back into your lunge. Plant your hands. Right foot steps back, three-legged dog. To down dog. Option to hold, down dog, come into child's pose, or take your way through a vinyasa. Your vinyasa will be rolling to plank, lowering to the belly. Rising up into the back bend of your choice. Exhale, release. Press up. Back to down dog. Once you've arrived back in down dog, three-legged dog, left side. Stepping the left foot forward between the hands. Rise up, high lunge. Hands behind the back. Mini back bend, gaze goes up, sternum lifts. Folding forward, humble warrior. Plant your back foot. Unravel the arms, rise up, warrior two. Reverse triangle, straighten the front leg, lean back. Come back, warrior two. Transitioning, high lunge. Ball of your back foot. Releasing your hands down and back. Make that transition into your warrior three. Little step or even a slide. Push up. Let your back leg lift as high as you can. Tip yourself as low as you can. Reach the fingertips back. Releasing hands to the floor. Let your back foot come down. Lunge. Plant the hands. Step back. Three-legged dog. To down dog. Holding downward facing dog. Walk or step your feet up to the hands, forward fold. Rise up, extended lift. Bend the knees. Lift the arms, chair pose. Arms can either go parallel to the floor or they can lift higher. You should be able to see the tops of your feet. If you can, get your bum a little farther back. Firmness through the belly. Rise up. And release the hands down. Okay, releasing the hands. Turn sideways on the mat. Step your feet wider than hip distance or wider than maybe even your shoulders. We're going to be coming into our dangling, but we're going to take it wide today. So we're already moving into our yin postures. You can have your back against a wall if you need a bit more support. You can also have blocks or supports on the floor. Start to ease your way down and forward. Once you've lowered down, your hands could be on props. You may also want to grab opposite elbows. We're going to let the head be really heavy. You can nod your head yes and no. Make sure you're relaxed. You can have a bend in the knees if you need it, or you can work towards a straighter leg. We're going to be holding here. release your hands underneath the shoulders so you've got more support. We're going to be going down into our yogi squat. I'm going to give you a couple different options. If you know where you're comfortable, go there. If you're not sure, keep your feet facing forward. They're not going to be turned out, just to see how we manage today. So the feet are parallel. You're going to start to bend your knees and lower down. You're going to be really mindful about the knees. See how that feels for you. If you can manage to stay with your feet parallel, you might have to change the distance between them. See how it feels. If it's like, whoa, no thank you, then you're going to turn your heels and your toes out, and that usually eases out on the knees and perhaps into your hips. You may also have to make several adjustments for the distance between them. So we want to be able to hold the pose. So make sure that you can hold it for time. Other options for your squat are to stay up higher, perhaps even to have your bum against a wall, forearms on thighs, any different spacing between your feet that you need, or to come all the way down onto the sit bones, keeping the legs out in front and maintaining a tall spine. And you can decide how much you open up through the knees. So you've got 3 different places to play, 4 or 5 actually. See how it feels with the feet parallel? It's different than how we normally do it. You can again make some adjustments and then we'll hold. Wherever you are, try to create the sensation where you're aware of the fact that your shoulders are over top of your sit bones, as best you can manage. That the spine is still long and tall as if we were seated or standing. And the hands can be out in front for support, or they could be up, perhaps in a mudra, like Anjali mudra. Close down the eyes. And go back to the work that we did at the very beginning, where we're scanning the body. Scan the physical body. I'm going to be aware of pain, fatigue, aches and pains, chronic injuries. We want to make sure we're taking care of those parts of the body. We want to notice the subtle body energy. Emotionally, how are you feeling? Energetically, how are you? If the energy is low, know that we're slowing it down. If your energy is still high, know that there's work to be done. You can work with a stronger breath as you hold the shapes. You can work on a stronger sensation. Try to draw your breath back to a slower, sweeter, smoother breath. And allow your body temperature to lower. Now your option is to stay where you are, perhaps the eyes closed, doing your scanning and your body work. Or we can also do that while we're in our twist. We're going to keep the right arm out in front. Your left hand will go to your knee or your thigh. You'll start to turn your torso towards your left knee. Option to perhaps lift your left arm up towards the sky. Other option is to wrap your left arm around your back. And if you've got your balance, perhaps the right hand can wrap around your right knee and the hands can find each other and hold. You're bound around your right knee. You're twisting and opening up to your left. Rotated or twisted, you'll gently come back to center. Take a moment, make any small adjustments. And we'll work our way twisting to the other side. Left hand is out in front, right hand to knee or thigh. Turn the torso, roll the top shoulder down and back. Option again is to reach one arm up towards the ceiling, that might be enough. Or reaching the right arm behind your back. Left hand will wrap around your knee. You'll find the hands and you'll hold in your bind. If you have twisted and bound, you'll gently release. come back to center, take a moment to pause. We're going to be rising back up into our dangling pose or forward fold. Straighten the legs, send your bum up. And just take a moment. You might want to bend one knee and then the other. We're going to change our dangling variation one more time. So keeping your hands down the floor, heel toe your feet wider. And you're going to go to as wide as you know you can comfortably hold without your feet sliding away from you. And then you'll let yourself soften and fold down. Now you can choose where you want your hands to support you. You could have your head to the floor, maybe it's your hands. Your hands may also want to go out to the outside edges of your feet. Choose a variation that works for you, and again, we want to be able to choose one that we know we can hold. You know, if you need to move, you can, but we're going for holding the shape. Move your hands so that they're back underneath your shoulders. You can support the upper body. Heel toe your feet back towards each other. And we're going to go all the way until we're in our forward fold. So your feet would be about hip distance apart. You let yourself fold back down. If you've had enough of the forward folding, your hamstrings are screaming at you, then I'd encourage you to bend your knees really generously and drape your chest onto the thighs and hold here instead. If you're enjoying the forward folds, encourage you to work to more of a straighter leg, letting the upper body be relaxed. You may even want to sway the upper body. We're going to bend the knees. Swoop the arms all the way up. Take your time coming up, especially if you were down for quite a while. You might have trouble regulating the circulation. So just give yourself a moment. Make sure you don't get dizzy. Releasing your hands when you're ready. And we'll meet at the top of the mat. Take a nice big arm sweep all the way up. Turn the palms out, forward fold. Rising up, extended lift. Bend your knees, plant your hands, walking your feet to downward facing dog. We're going to be moving into swan or pigeon pose. If you know that that doesn't work for you, I'm going to encourage you to come either to seated or on your back for a figure 4 stretch. If pigeon is okay for you, we're going to start on the right side. Right leg lifts, 3-legged dog. And then bringing your right knee forward, planting it to the outside of the right wrist, finding just the right angle for your front shin. You may want a prop underneath the right sit bone. Lengthening your back leg out nice and straight. Again, the main thing for this posture is that there's no sharp pain in the knee and you can hold the shape. You may wish to bring your props underneath your chest or your hands. We're going to try to keep the hips nice and level as best you can. Option to come a little lower, perhaps even lowering all the way to the belly. Figure four doesn't, if you're not sure what figure four looks like, you'll either be seated or on your back, bringing one ankle to the thigh. You have the same shape in your forward leg. You can either have your hands back behind you, or you can have your hands interlaced behind the thigh, pulling yourself forward. Primary sensation area is in the outer hip of the bent knee side. We're going to be transitioning from pigeon into shoelace pose. If you've gone down low, come back up onto your hands. If you have a prop underneath your right side, slide it out and come to sit on your right sit bone. And then using your hands as support, slide your back leg all the way forward and cross your knees. So you want to have your legs crossed with the knees stacked on top of each other. You'll have a nice tall spine. Option is to bring your heels closer back to your hips or have your legs extended out to the sides of your mat. If you can't get this shape to work for you, it'll be your bottom leg that would be straight and you'd work with just the top leg. So know that you've got that option as well. If you need more, you could go forward. If that's not an option, but you still want to do something more, you can bring your arms into a shoulder stretch. You bring one arm up, perhaps to the back of the one shoulder, other arm reaches back, trying to find your fingertips on your back. Now sometimes you can come into your shoulder stretch and also add the forward fold. If you've gone forward, you'll rise up. And if you have your shoulder stretch, you'll release. And we're going to swing our legs all the way back, and we're meeting in downward facing dog. Move around as much as you need to get there. And we'll repeat on the other side, starting with our three-legged dog, left leg lifts. Bringing the left knee forward to the outside of the left wrist, settling the shin down at an angle that you know is not going to hurt your knee and that you can maintain. You'll add the prop onto the left side and you'll straighten your right leg out strong and straight. Option to stay on your palms or to lower down. And again, figure four, either seated or on your back if this just doesn't work for you. We want to be able to hold in the stretch with comfort and ease. If you've lowered down, I'll ask you to rise back up onto the hands. Remove any props from the left side. Send your weight to the left sit bone or hip. Back leg's gonna come all the way forward until you can cross your knees. When you're back into your shoelace pose, knees are stacked. Option to straighten out the bottom leg. And then again, the option is to pull the heels towards the hips or to have your legs more out to the side. It'll look like a shoelace that's been tied. So if you did the shoulder stretch on the other side, it's going to be the opposite arm that comes up and wraps around to find your fingertips on your back. Either maintaining a nice tall spine as you hold, or again, folding forward. If you've gone forward, you can start to rise up, release your arms, move them around a little bit. And instead of unwinding back to down dog, we're going to unwind our legs out in front of us. You can shake them out, move them around. And then if you have any of those yoga props handy, this is where we're going to use them. If you don't have them, know that that's okay. I'll give you some other options. If you've got your yoga props, you'll have a block or a bolster behind you. And maybe a little something for the head. I'm going to give you two variations to work with for our final hold. Option number one, if you can manage it, is to have your legs bent with the heels alongside your hips. And you're going to work your way to having both legs back. Now, you may need a little bit of a lift underneath. That could be another block or a blanket underneath the sit bone so that you can sit like this. If this is too much for your knees, you're just going to disregard it and avoid it. Have your legs out straight. If this is okay for you and you're still actually okay to go back, you're going to come onto your prop. Now, if you have a yoga bolster or two, you would have those on the blocks so that you're a bit more elevated and you have less space to go back into. If you're not having your legs like this, it'll be quite accessible. If this is new to you, you may want to be really cautious. So, if you're good to go, you're going to hang onto your prop, whether it's a block or your bolster. You're going to start to lift your hips and ease your way back. You're going to go back really slowly so that you don't go too far too fast. And you're going to be evaluating the whole time to make sure it's safe for you. And if you get back far enough to rest on your prop, take your time. And then you can use your hands to adjust whatever support you need for the head. Lift your chest, adjust your hips, and then the arms can go out to the side or overhead. They can also rest, of course, on the belly. Now, positioning is going to be key. If you want more of a back bend, you'll have more props. You can also have your block on its edge instead of its side. And then you would just adjust the support under the back of your head for comfort. So we're going for a back bend. Options for the legs again are like this, knees bent, heels alongside the hips, or just legs straight and coming back onto your prop. You can experiment with the positioning of your arms depending on what version you found your way into. Stretching the arms up overhead, relaxing them out to the sides, adjusting the support underneath your head for either higher or lower. A couple nice big cleansing breaths in through the nose, out through the mouth. And then you're going to be really, really mindful about how you come up out of your posture. You want to get your elbows underneath you, tuck chin to chest, and then slowly rise up. If your knees were bent back, you're going to release your legs out in front. Usually feels really nice to give the backs of the knees a massage or a rub. Good, and then whatever props you have, bring them to the other side of your mat so that they're back by your feet. Make a little lift for your feet to rest on. You can either have your heels resting on your props, or I sometimes like to have the calves on the props and let the heels and the feet be sort of suspended. Then you can lower yourself back down onto your back. Adjust your shoulder blades, adjust your hips. Hands can either rest on the belly or out to the side or even up overhead. And we'll spend a few moments here in Shavasana, just turning off all of the mind stuff, focusing on the breath, allowing the body to be completely still and relaxed. You may want to do one more body scan where you're noticing all of the physical sensations, and an energetic scan. How are you feeling now emotionally, energetically? And then can you get the breath to be very quiet and very subtle? to rotate your ankles both directions. Rotate your wrists. Come into a full body stretch, arms up overhead, pointing and flexing the feet. And then drawing your knees up into your chest, wrap your arms around the shins. Massage your back by gently rocking side to side. And then coming to center, you're either going to rock forward and back, or you're going to rock to one side and we'll press up or rock up to seated. And we'll meet where we started. Cross-legged. Tall spine. Relaxed shoulders, relaxed legs. You can bring your hands into a mudra, perhaps Jnana mudra, thumb and index finger together, palms open onto your knees. Take a moment to practice gratitude. Gratitude for finding the time to do your yoga practice. And gratitude from me to you for allowing me to guide your practice. Bring your hands into Anjali Mudra in front of the heart. And I hope you have an amazing rest of your day or evening. Namaste. Have a great one.